this week we're talking about the Hyperbolic Time Chamber and if it is a bad plot device or not. So, what do you think? You can begin this conversation. Do you think it's a bad plot device? Do you think it's needed? Or, yeah, do they just do it for free power ups?
It was fine. It was totally fine. There was nothing wrong with it. It was use it twice, um, and then that's it. You cannot use it anymore.
Hmm.
There's the threat of being locked in after you've had your 48 hours, and then it can never be used again.
Yeah.
And basically, it's not just a threat for you because it impacts other people. Because if you're in for the 48 hours, not only are you locked in, but it impacts other people because other people then can't go in
Mm.
because they can't rescue you or anything like that. So it impacts others. But then they cheated and they thought, well, that's kind of inconvenient. So what we do, we'll blow it up. And then when we magically decide to rebuild it,
There's no time
now
constraints.
it can do for 3 days.
Yeah.
And oh, by the way, with those 3 days, they reset. And so now, if you've had your 2 days, it doesn't matter. You can have 3 days.
Yeah.
So now, in other words, you can have 5 days in total.
Mm.
It's basically the exact same principle as the Dragon Balls, where the old Dragon Balls, whilst they had really strong limitations, the new Dragon Balls were like so much better.
Yeah.
And you happen to have two wishes instead of just the one. It's just they had such good limitations to them,
Mm.
and they were too limiting, and so they were just like, that's a bit tough. And they just kind of rolled with it. And they've actually done that again further down the line. They've done it with Whisa's staff. I don't know if you've realized, but Whisa's staff is actually a hyperbolic time chamber.
Ah, yeah, of course it is, because he can make his
Um,
own mini dimension.
yeah,
Yeah.
Beerus called it that place. Um, and it's basically Goku called it, or compared it to the hyperbolic time chamber, except with God Key.
Mm.
So basically, but there was no indication that there was any limitations on it.
Yeah.
So basically, and now that's the equivalent of their power level.
Mhm.
So now the hyperbolic time chamber, especially considering Vegeta's blew it up a million times now. So, and as a side point, he's blew it up a million times so they could just rebuild it and say it's 4 days now.
Yeah.
Whisa's staff is basically it's unlimited. They can just
Mhm.
keep going in there and in there and in there, and there's no inherent limitations for them to go in there, and they can just keep powering up in there instead.
Yeah.
It's it's such yeah, they've just kind of shrugged it off and just said it was handy, so we'll just keep doing it, basically. So
Yeah, I don't like it as a concept, if I'm honest. I think it's cheap. Like it's an easy way to get around a giant power up in a short amount of time. Is just them going in here, yeah, we'll just go in here for a year and then we'll get strong and come out and only a day will have passed in real time, so don't worry about it. And yeah, I've never liked it, if I'm honest.
see, I thought it was fine if you had the 2 day limitation and it was
Yeah.
locked at that. I don't see there's anything wrong with that because if they never changed it and if they had blown up and rebuilt it, if you then couldn't go back in,
Mm.
so if you'd still had your 2 days and that was it, then I still wouldn't have had a problem with that. If they then said, yeah, you can have like 3 days, but it then hadn't reset for people,
Mm.
so like then maybe someone could have an extra day, I would still be a bit funny with it, but giving people like 5 days, like Vegeta, like 5 days and stuff like that, it's like it's still a stretch.
Yeah.
But I don't see it happening like those odd couple of days because then you're throwing it like the Cell games. It's like yeah, Cell because Cell gets this ridiculous power up from absorbing someone. So it's like fair enough. You give the good guy something. Yeah, it's like we were talking about with the Dragon Radars. You give the bad guy something. You give the good guy something. Keep it
Mm.
fair. So you give the good guys this one time thing to give them a boost. It's not constant. They can't keep doing it. They have this one option that allows them to power up, but they can't just keep doing it and doing it and doing it. Whereas because they blew it up and now they get the 3 days, they can't just keep doing it and doing it and doing it, and they're just altering the story to make it convenient. They're not being creative. They're just, again, the Wii staff thing is just a different version of the Hyperbolic Time Chamber. It's cheap,
Yeah.
and that's why I don't like it.
Mhm.
They should have done something else. It's what kind of annoyed me about Super Saiyan Blue. It just appeared out of nowhere. They should have explored Red more.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah, and it's why I don't like that Vegeta just got skipped over. They did it Vegeta with Super Saiyan 3, and like I don't really like Super Saiyan 3, but it's the same principle, is the fact that Vegeta just got skipped over entirety. He went from 2 to blue. Like, yeah, he got red in Broly, but that's kind of just that was fan service. That was literally nothing but fan service. Pure and simple.
Yeah. I guess Vegeta is the one who abuses the time chamber the most. Like, I've
He does
got
it for kicks.
yeah, I've got it written down all of them, so we'll go through. First people to use it are Goku and Gohan together before the fight for Cell, which is fine. They're in for a whole year or 1 day in real life time, so that's fine. They didn't abuse it too much. They're in for half of the time that they could have at the time before they're trapped in there forever. So they left it open for another go at some point in the future, which was fine. Piccolo also enters for Cell, and then so does Vegeta and Trunks. They go in together again for another year each. That's all good. And then Goten and Trunks use it for the Boo fight, but only for 1 hour, which is about 2 weeks inside the chamber. Which they didn't really use it for long because they didn't have much time, but still 2 weeks of training. Did they do much in that time? I guess so. It helped them slightly, but yeah, 2 weeks inside. Goku and Vegeta, this is after they changed the rules. They go back in it again during Super for 3 years. And yeah, again, that's just a power up. They don't even show much in the show of them being in there, but they're in for 3 years, the longest time anyone's been in by a long time at this point. And then Vegeta goes in again during the future Trunks saga for 6 months. And then Vegeta goes in another time for 1 hour just before the tournament of power starts, which is not a long time, but again, that's like 2 weeks inside the chamber for 1 hour of real life time. So Vegeta's been in there a lot. He's blew it up a lot, like you mentioned as well.
Yeah.
And,
There was another time Goku went in with Kami in original Dragon Ball for a month.
yes,
well.
that's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But he punked out because he couldn't handle the atmosphere.
Yeah.
Because he hadn't done the Namek bit yet.
That's true.
So would that not screw his timeline off though?
No, I guess not, because if he was in there for a month, that's not so long. And then he was in for a year with Goku and Gohan, and then that's the only times he uses it before they changed the rules. So he's still got like 11 months of time he could have used it before they changed the rules.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, because he only went in the once, and then Vegeta did his thing, didn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but here's the thing, because I know you said you were fine with it, and I kind of agree for the first two uses. Goku and Kami going in, that was fine. It was unique, it was new. They showed what the time chamber was, they shown what can happen inside and all that stuff. Great stuff. And then when Goku and Gohan go in together when they enter for Cell, there's a lot of story progression that happens within the time chamber that you see. After that, though, when Piccolo goes in, when he trains to fight Cell, you see maybe one scene where he's just meditating and that's it. When Vegeta and Trunks go in, I don't even think you see anything.
Mhm.
And then after that, every other time when Goten and Trunks go in, you don't really see much. When Goku and Vegeta go in for 3 whole years, you don't see much again. It's like one scene and that's it. Vegeta going in again before the Future Saga, nothing. Vegeta going in for 1 hour before the tournament, nothing. So it's like they go in to train and you don't even see what happens anymore. It's literally, okay, yeah, I got stronger. And that's it.
Yeah, because don't Vegeta and Trunks go in first, and they just come out, and Vegeta basically says, "I'm stronger than you now, Goku." And it's like, you kind of want to see why he's stronger. You don't really.
No, they go in after Goku and Goten because Vegeta gets jealous that Goku and Goten have this huge power up, so he drags Trunks in to train to get stronger.
Gohan, you mean? Is it? Is it not?
No, Vegeta drags Trunks in to train because he wants to get stronger than Goku and Gohan because he sees the power up that they got from the chamber.
I thought it was Vegeta and Trunks going first, and then followed by Goku and Gohan.
Is it? I thought it was the other way around.
Yeah.
I thought Vegeta was jealous.
Because they go fight in Perfect Cell, and Gohan and Goku sit on Kami's tower, chilling.
I thought this was when Goku and Gohan were chilling just in Super Saiyan the whole time because they came out of the time chamber and were just walking around Super Saiyan the whole time.
Yeah.
Was this not before? I feel like it was, but I can't even remember fully now. Because I thought Vegeta gets jealous and that's why he goes in, because he can't stand the fact that Goku and Gohan got so much stronger and they can just walk around Super Saiyan the whole time.
I'm going to have to check this now.
Yeah, well, while they're doing that, I guess I'll continue talking anyway. Because, yeah, the time chamber was fine when they showed what can happen inside, but now they use it as a plot device just to say that, yeah, this is how I got stronger. It was the time chamber. Don't worry about it. We don't need to see what I did in there to get stronger. But trust me, like I was in there for a year, or I was in there for 6 months, or however long. I did some stuff that you don't need to see, but yeah, I'm stronger now, much stronger. Don't worry about it. And I don't like it. I don't like it. It was fine when they showed what happened, but they don't anymore, and that's what ruined it. And it is just a bad plot device to show them getting stronger.
Yeah, no, I do what you mean. I know what you mean. So yeah, it was first got used by Vegeta and Trunks together, next by Goku and Gohan, then by Piccolo, then Vegeta again, and finally by Trunks.
Right, fair enough then.
Yeah, so it was because that's when Trunks and Vegeta went after Cell.
Yeah.
Yeah. So basically, because Vegeta comes out and he gets to finally flex on Goku, and he's happy that he's stronger than him finally for a bit. But I think that's bad. That's really, really bad, because it's like Vegeta's stronger than Goku, and that's such a big deal in the whole story of Dragon Ball.
They don't even show how.
Yeah, it's that's such a big deal.
It's in the time chamber. Don't worry about it. And we as viewers are just supposed to be like, yeah, it makes sense, and not question it. But it's like, how? Hold on, how is he so much stronger now? What did he do? What difference is he making in like a year of free time that gets him so much stronger?
That's actually really cheap. I think they used it in the Buu saga, and they tried to use it quite interestingly in the Buu saga by trying to lock Buu in.
Yeah,
and I kind of like that. I think they should have got rid of it for good there. That would have been quite cool.
Yeah. See what happens when you're actually locked inside.
Yeah, and it's done. But I don't think they should have brought it back for Super. I think they should have just let it go there. It could have failed to keep Buu in. That's fine, but I think they should have just let it go.
Yeah. Like Buu could have blown it up when he was trapped inside and got out, and then that should have been the end of it. Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah, like there was no reason for it to be in Super, and I don't agree with the Whis thing at all. I don't like the Whis thing. He's an angel. He doesn't like, surely he's got better ways than here, jump inside my stick. Like,
yeah, I mean, I guess, because like Goku and Vegeta go in for 3 years in Super, and it's just like, it's no big deal. And did they get stronger during this time? I guess so, but you don't
just have to trust it.
You don't see any noticeable difference apart from they're saying they're stronger. Like, they have no new techniques, no new forms. They're just now stronger.
They have beards.
They did briefly, which I guess would happen if you didn't shave for 3 years. But apart from that, it's like, yeah, they're stronger, but what have they learned? Nothing really.
Yeah. I think it was just more. Yeah, it was literally an exposition dump on seeing beards. Literally, that was what we learned, that they grow beards.
Yeah, I guess so. because the whole canon thing was Saiyan's hair doesn't change during their life, but facial hair does now all of a sudden. Which makes sense because from the very start with Nappa, I guess he's the first Saiyan we see with facial hair. So it's obvious that facial hair can be
Somewhat.
grown because Nappa's not going to be born as a baby with a mustache or whatever, you know. So obviously,
You don't know
Saiyans.
that. Saiyan babies might
Well,
have Saiyan babies might have beards.
potentially, but yeah, I think it was always a
Canon.
thing. Yeah. So I
But
mean, discussion for another time, but seeing Nappa or Super Saiyan since he has facial hair, that would have been nice to see. But yeah.
no, I think they should have left it as. I don't think they should have changed it. I think I would have been. I would have been happy with the 2 days. Should have
Hmm.
left it at that.
Yeah.
And I mean, even one day or a single use, and whatever you get out of that use is it.
Hmm.
So Goku, after his time with Kami, like Kami stepped in with him and said, "Look, if you choose to leave, this was your one chance."
Mm.
And he left after the month, and Kami was basically like, "Okay, you had your chance. That's it.
Yeah.
Tough." Um,
Yeah. And
and
then it could have been used in crunch time situations for everyone else. Like
mhm.
Vegeta and Trunks going in for Cell, and Vegeta getting so much stronger and stuff at that time, and Trunks, I guess. That would have made sense, and that would have been their one use. And then Goku, since he couldn't have used it anymore, like Gohan would have maybe had to go in with Piccolo.
Yeah, I
That
was
would have
going to say,
made
I was
sense.
literally thinking that Piccolo, yeah,
Yeah.
because they have their teacher, they have their like
Student teacher
mentor thing
relationship.
going on,
Yeah.
yeah. So that would make sense because
Hmm.
that's their arc. That was their arc throughout that entire part of Z. That
Yeah.
made like he literally like was wearing his gi during that part of
Yeah.
the Cell saga. Like he wasn't wearing his father's gi
Hmm.
for that fight. Like it would have made sense.
And arguably, if they did that to make Piccolo, Gohan, Trunks, and Vegeta all stronger than Goku at the time, since he can't use the time chamber, they could have changed the story so that at this time when all of these are going in the time chamber, Goku could be the one holding off Cell since he knows he can't use it anymore. And they could have had an interesting story where Cell almost kills Goku. So then Goku can use the whole Saiyan Zenkai ability where the closer they are to death, the stronger they become the next time they heal. So Cell could have almost killed Goku, maybe even twice. Maybe he does it 2 times. Maybe yeah, that's how he gets the huge power up.
And
Who
then he just
knows?
instant transmissions out.
Yeah,
Yeah, he has ways to escape.
yeah.
Um,
Cell almost killing Goku once or maybe even twice would have been a nice addition to the story because yeah, Cell doesn't really get that big moment, I guess, where he almost kills a main character.
yeah, I mean he takes yeah, like he kills Trunks, but
Yeah.
Trunks isn't that really that important
Yeah,
for
like
the
this
most
is
part.
this is Trunks' story, I guess. The whole Android Cell saga is because of Trunks, and he turns into a background character kind of by the end of the saga because it focuses more on Goku, Vegeta, and Gohan.
Yeah.
Yeah,
By that point he's by that point in the story he's about as important as
TM.
Tien or Yamcha. It's just he's very
Yeah,
yeah,
he
he's
starts
very
off very
important.
important and then gets
Yeah,
less important throughout the arc,
yeah.
which is
He's
annoying.
he's yeah, he's like he's very redundant by that point.
Hmm.
I can't really remember any of his dialogue by that point in the show.
No.
No.
Um,
Um, which is that's not necessarily his fault. And like you said, I'm not a huge fan of that part, that point of Trunks. And it's
mhm.
not just, and it's not because, like I said, I'm not a huge fan of him. It's just literally, it's there's nothing memorable about him at that point in the show.
Yeah,
Um, and that is a shame. And I remember a good part of him when he comes into it then, because it's very memorable when he first appears.
yeah,
So it is actually quite yeah, thinking about it, it's quite a shame that he just does just fade into the background. And thinking about it, you can slowly see it happen.
yeah,
It really shouldn't happen.
yeah.
Because by the end of the arc, he's become quite strong again.
Hmm.
And he had some by the end of the arc, he has some brilliant moments, like when he returns to his timeline and he kills the androids
Again,
again.
I do.
One of my favorite scenes from Z is when he kills the when he kills the androids. Very powerful scene. I really enjoy it, which is funny because, like I said, I'm not the biggest fan. So very odd. I can be very torn when it comes to Trunks.
Yeah. But yeah, like if that was their only use, then yeah, that would make sense. It would make perfect sense because they don't use the time chamber anymore throughout Z, apart from when Goten and Trunks use it for the Boo fight, which I guess, even though Trunks, the future Trunks has used it, Kid Trunks hasn't used it, so he would be fine to use it. This would be his one chance. And it would make sense for the two of them to go in together to train before the Boo fight, even if it is only for 2 weeks. You know, that's their one use because Boo is the big threat at this point, and they feel like Gotenks is the only person who can take them down. But yeah, use it for them at that point. And then in Super, just don't use it anymore. Goku and Vegeta didn't need to go back in. Vegeta goes in 3 times. He just doesn't really need to. There's no need, really.
And technically, couldn't Trunks go in because, based on the timelines, this is getting a bit trippy, but if you go into the super timelines and how killing Zamazu and everything doesn't impact the other timeline, the Kid Trunks could still go in if future Trunks goes in.
Yeah,
because
exactly.
they're 2 separate timelines.
Yeah.
So like the whole multiverse thing,
Yeah, yeah.
if you look at it, it wouldn't impact, it wouldn't matter. They could still both go in.
Yeah.
So that doesn't impact them at all. I think it actually would. Talking about it now, I think it's a lot more interesting a concept if you can only use it once.
Yeah.
I actually much prefer that.
In key moments when it's needed, yeah.
Yeah, you have one shot. Cammy said, like, this was your one chance, and you, if you're going to leave, you need to do you need to be sure, because he spent that 1 month in and he left. And if he'd known this is Goku, would he have stuck it out?
Yeah. Probably, well, maybe slightly longer, but even if he didn't, the only villain where he has tested himself is 4-Cell, which he didn't really need to go in for.
Well, he'd done 100 times. He'd done 100 times atmosphere. It's what, 10 times in a hyperbolic time chamber?
Yeah, the only thing it does is it gives you more time to train, pretty much.
Yeah, he went in for Gohan, really.
Yeah, which Piccolo could have, which would have made sense.
Yeah. So, no, I think it would be a lot more interesting for the story if they'd done a single use.
Yeah.
And definitely not a rebuild.
Yeah.
Especially a rebuild increase. That's silly. And Whis is just no.
Yeah. I kind of hope they don't do that again. There's no real need for it. It is a plot device, and yeah, I think we both agree it's kind of a bad one. They've overused it now, they've ruined it, and yeah, I don't think they'll fix it, if I'm honest. But it's there. It's a bad plot device to say, yep, we got stronger. How? Time chamber. And that's it.
Because reasons.
Yeah. So I think we can wrap up that section now. It's been a bit of a long Roshi's rant. So yeah, let's move on now to...
That's why it's called a rant.
Yeah, exactly. Let's move on now to the Hall of Fame.
Let's go.